In this chapter, we're going to be talking about government regulations. So this is a little bit kind of a gray area, let's just say. Government regulations are not specifically in the U.S. Constitution. These are created by Congress. And you may hear these referred to as administrative law or regulatory law, public law. They all mean the same thing. And what happens is that Congress passes a law, and in this law, it says what the purpose and the structure of this agency should be. But they pretty much say, okay, here's the purpose, work it out. As far as you and me, our daily life, administrative or government regulations affect us more than probably any other kind of law. As far as businesses, yes, it affects businesses also. Contract law and tort law is important, those specific types of law. But as far as day-to-day operations, government regulations are by far more common. So you may hear, depending on the type of political leaning, you may hear someone hear it referred to as the Washington, D.C. bureaucracy. Some people even call it the swamp. But when they're talking about that, what they're actually talking about are all of these government agencies that have been created by Congress that have the ability to regulate how we do things. So a couple of ones that have been around for a long time is the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Trade Commission. I'm going to show you a list when I'm finished, just to give you an idea of how many different agencies there really are. The head of these agencies are usually appointed by the U.S. president. So the Congress enacts the organic statute, which gives its purpose, which is from the legislative side of things. But then the executive side of things hires or appoints the person to run it. But then these administrative law judges within these agencies actually have judicial powers. And so it might be a little easier once you see all of these different kinds of agencies. But as far as administrative law judges, they can actually, they do oversee procedures such as the deposition of witnesses. They can review rules and statutes related to their agency and award money and punish those that are guilty of violating these rules. So let me just give you an example. There's a U.S. Department of Transportation. I don't know how many of you remember crash test dummies, but the U.S. Department of Transportation is the one that does the tests to see if cars meet certain safety regulations. All of this is a government regulation. No place in the Constitution does it even say the U.S. Department of Transportation. And it certainly doesn't say that certain cars have to meet certain safety standards or that certain cars have to get a certain mile per gallon out of gasoline. All of that is created by the government regulations, let's say. So if a car is manufactured that doesn't meet safety regulations, several years ago, probably decades ago now, there was a problem with Jeeps, and they would turn over. Now, Jeeps are still not the most stable vehicle, but there was one particular brand, and I'm not even going to say it, although I do know it, that would turn over more than others. And it was found to basically be a safety hazard, and the company was punished. They had to pay a fine. Now, none of that went through the civil or the criminal court. It all went through the administrative law judges. So see, they can award money and punish those that are found guilty. One of the most famous that you probably have heard of is OSHA. or OSHA, however you want to say it, the Occupational Safety and Health Act. They have their own agency, and when you violate OSHA, you get in trouble. I was the HR manager for a electric cooperative, and the electric cooperative had someone killed on their lines. It was a contractor, and somebody went up and was trying to restore power without their personal protective equipment, and they were killed. One of the worst parts of my career was having to go tell the contractor that they had lost an employee. But anyway, OSHA came in, and OSHA fined that company over $1 million because they said they were not practicing the personal protective equipment drill as much as they should, and they weren't giving their employees enough training. So again, that's kind of the government regulations end of it. Now, in 1946, there was actually a bill passed called the Administrative Procedure Act. And in this, it said that, hey, wait a minute, these administrative agencies can't just have all the power that they think they need. They must follow the organic statute as it's laid out. Congress created these administrative agencies for a certain specific procedure or law, and they cannot violate or go beyond what that is. And they also must follow the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, your amendments, your right to appeal, your right to a free trial, your right to a speedy trial, all of that kind of stuff. So that was enacted in 1946 to keep these administrative agencies from kind of becoming these, basically do what they want to anybody. So I guess my point of all of this is that you all know that there are government regulations out there, that they're not mentioned in the U.S. Constitution, that they are passed, the law was passed by Congress. The executive branch appoints the leader, and then once they're established, these branches, these administrative branches can act as judicial. So let me pull up and give you an idea. So what I have up here on my computer, I happen to pick the word F. Now or the letter F, that probably wasn't best because there's probably going to be a bunch of federal, but this is just the letter F and all the different government agencies that begin with F. So you have the Federal Administrative Agencies, the FBI, the Bureau of Prisons, the Communications, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the Election Commission, FEMA. I think y'all have probably heard of FEMA. I'm very familiar with FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So you see, it just goes down. Federal Highway Administration, it just goes down and down and down. All of these are federal administrations. And that's just the letter F. So let's do, see if you, for United States, let's see how many are you. Let's go and look at you. So you see what I'm trying to say is basically there are a lot of different administrative agencies in the United States government. And I want you all to be aware of that and how much they affect our lives and how much of I guess the word is power they have over us. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Again, not a lot to talk about as long as you get the idea of where they came from and what they do. Thanks.